Pecha Kucha 117, Urban Logo, and Magneto Infamous. It's been one doozy of a week this week, but I did manage to read some pretty damn good comics, more than I can actually even begin to talk about this week. I read a lot of good Constantine, but I'll probably talk about that next week. It's too good to not talk about it. Uh, the Mystic Moore sent me this Todd McFarlane interview, which I'd been putting off watching because I thought it was something else. It was really good. It's just Todd McFarlane being honest about his success and the luck and the skill and the hard work that he's put in. Very inspirational. You can't do what he did because it's not the 90s anymore, but he found his way, and I might, maybe one day, find mine. Daily sketch, some lady throwing a kick, pretty dynamic. The leg is blocking the light to her head. Jim Lee would frown on that. I subconsciously forgot to shade her head in that much because I agree you shouldn't block the face of a character in a picture. Proco is getting other people on his channel. This guy's like a concept artist. He just used a default Photoshop brush and got some really good results really fast. And I just thought, you know what, this is quite inspirational. Let me have a go. I just picked the first brush in Photoshop I could. This is the first time I've drawn something in Photoshop in probably a year. I picked Judge Dredd based on reading Judge Dredd last week. I had a lot of fun with this, but this was like Monday, and by Thursday I couldn't, my Cintiq crapped out, and I can't do this, use the same shortcuts. It's crazy. It would take a different Pecha Kucha to explain that. I kind of overlay multiplied, used those layers to apply color. I like it in black and white, but color just makes it a little bit easier to read, especially kind of his right hand. I also took the time to figure out if I can record on my PC me drawing while me talking, and I can, and it feels super weird. My art quality is not good, but it did suffer as I just spent like 5 minutes just talking into my mic to see if how it would sound, the volume levels. So it's on the table, but I gotta have a very specific approach to it. Jinro, it's an anime movie from the 90s with this obvious Killzone type soldier thing going on. Who copied from who? I don't know. I think it's worth talking about because it's like the polar opposite of Spriggan, which I mentioned in passing a couple of weeks ago. It's got this kind of political setting in Japan, a very kind of boring. It's a very boring film where technically nothing happens, and the reason I like it is because it's not good. There's no conclusion at the end. It left me feeling very dissatisfied. Like the main character is this guy, and he's got like PTSD. He's just like you can't sympathize with him because he never seems to have a logical response to anything. He's Jinro is worth watching if you want to watch something that's like art for grown-ups to think about, not because you want entertainment. Magneto Infamous, just a random comic from the library. Basically, he's the Punisher. He just goes around America killing people who have problems with mutants, and I think it's very interesting. It's very low key. Magneto as a character is very grim. Yeah, this is like the first or second page. He's already stuck street signs through a guy's head, and he's in a motel, thinking about his life and how he's risen to such heights and gone to such lows. It's a first person narrative that's far more entertaining than the Wolverine comic I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know how Magneto got considerably weaker as a mutant, but it basically means he has to kind of fight guerrilla fights, and like he's like killing people by using fistfuls of nails instead of like throwing cars and buildings. Very interesting, very dynamic take on the character. I'd like to read more of that. It was inconclusive. So I was tasked with creating some kind of urban logo for a startup fashion company this week. I don't know. Urban's such a loaded word. I found stuff like this online and I thought, yeah, this sounds about right. The whole, graffiti stuff. But then it's like, if I just look at urban clothing lines, they're not so convoluted. It's simple, straightforward stuff. It's a font. Maybe there's an icon, maybe there isn't. Like, look at Supreme's logo. It's literally the Colgate logo. Does anyone want to sue? I mean, I don't care. So I started just mucking around in Manga Studio, trying to figure out how to combine the name, which is Kanik, with some kind of cityscape thing. Um, I think there's some stuff in here that could go somewhere, but you know me, I'm not a trendy kind of guy. I found a cool font though that like did a lot of the hard work for me, like a stenciled spray paint kind of thing. And I felt like this was a good place to get to where maybe I could get something that's kind of punchy without actually having to work too hard. I don't know. And it's in this weird shape because like I did it in Illustrator and I blocked off some of the stuff and that causes its own problems. The guy sent a couple of logos of the stuff he'd found on Google, and it made me think about 2-point perspective cityscapes. He likes kind of hipster badge stuff, so that's what that terrible thing in the middle is. I wasn't interested, but it doesn't look that bad. It could be tightened up. And then I started thinking about using 3-point perspective without guides because I'm fun like that. I'm thinking that I'm in a good place with this stuff. Who knows if I am, but I kind of like look at the stuff and think, you know what, this doesn't embarrass me. I don't feel bad with this, and that's got to be a good thing. So sad clown of the week 2 times is me because I spent 5 hours trying to get Total War Warhammer to work on my PC. And this PC gaming thing, this is the kind of thing that can't happen on the PlayStation. It's infuriating. I tried every logical thing you could do, updating Windows, getting graphics drivers, reinstalling, uninstalling the game, and I basically had to give up, completely and utterly give up. And that's when I discovered that my Cintiq, for some reason, was stopping Total War from working. Some kind of thing in the task manager was taking up a huge amount of CPU, some kind of driver for a tablet. I turn it off and suddenly I can play my games again. Shrug, what the hell. But now I'm sad clown for the second reason, because as soon as I stop recording this, I'm going into Illustrator to use the perspective tools to do type versions of those logos I've just shown. And the idea that this is just going to go smoothly is not how Adobe products work. So, if you're a Christmas motherfucker, yeah, give me one of them Christmas miracles in the mail so I can be done with this job and go back to playing my stupid video games. All right, so that's the end of Pecha Kucha 117, and I'll see you next time.